Hi, I'm Louise Pennell for Advance TV and welcome to our first Leaders to You. I'm joined by Andy Walsh, who is Director of High Performance for RedBull, and Andy is one of the world's leading high performance specialists. Can you give us a bit of an insight into the way they tick with regard to perhaps your surfers and downhill skiers and just, you know, what are they thinking before they take on the wave or take on that mountain?
Yeah, good questions again. It's a really interesting space. I mean, of all the areas about our athletes, the mindset of the performer is the area we understand the least, I think. And we're really trying to develop our understanding in that space just so we can help them. But one of the things I find that's really impressive about what these athletes can do, and again this translates to all parts of life, is when they come up against a challenge or when they're coming up against that big wave, so it's Mick Fanning surfing or again Robbie trying to jump his bike, they are able to draw on all their experiences and they're able to control the level of arousal such that they can then execute well. Right. And I think that's the biggest difference. I think the mindset is the place that controls that, and they're able to bring that mindset to a spot where they can literally take the time, take in the relevant information, the important information, not all the information, just the important cues, so whether the wave's feathering a little bit or whether that green's lying a little to the left, and then they can say, okay, that's important, that's what I need to take in, and then they execute. And once they've executed, right or wrong, whether it's successful or not successful, the greatest athletes then follow up with another great performance. And I see that in a lot of people who make a mistake and then they just fall apart or they just struggle to come to terms. And that's typically the inner conversation you're having with yourself.
Right.
Why did I messed up? I did mess up. People saw me messing up. And they're thinking about that conversation versus actually executing again. Hopefully what we do is we educate them as to there's a bunch of tools and techniques and ways to manage arousal, for example, or to handle pressure. Yeah. And we educate them about all these different tricks, we call them, tools of the trade. And hopefully they get to the point where they never actually crack. A poor performance is okay, but we don't want them to completely fail. If they do, or if we get them to that point where they've gone so far beyond their abilities that they've just fallen apart, it's a lot harder to bring them back. So we spend a lot more time in a preventative sense versus a sort of repair sense.
Amazing. So Frank asks, how do you help people move on when they are no longer at the top of their game? And that's a good question, I guess, Frank, because when do does the athlete decide they're no longer at the top of their game, or is it just, lack of performance and someone taps them on the shoulder?
We try and think of ourselves almost cradle to the grave. We know that an athlete's career in their particular discipline, no matter how good they are and how groundbreaking they may be, it eventually someone will come and take their place. Yeah. So early on in their career, even before they hit their peak, we sometimes sit down and have conversations with them about what's next. Again, the idea of how do you want to be remembered? What's important to you in your life? Because at a certain point, this is not going to be here, and we try and engage them. If we can actively engage, put them in situations potentially, as an example, we had many years ago some athletes who were coming through and they were all peaking at a very early and young age, and we knew they weren't going to last that long. And we actively started to place them on work experience in careers that they'd identified they would be interested in post their sporting career. And we started to place them in their off season just to get a taste of what it was like and engage them into that next part of their life. So I guess the answer is you can actively get that message across early, educate people as to the natural course of events, and then try and then show them a pathway forward once they're done there. And we sometimes bring those athletes straight back in coaching roles, so we actually provide that step for them.
Thanks for watching Leaders to You. I'm Louise Pennell for Advance TV.